Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Monday, June 16th, 12:30. Start off with public forum. Is there anybody in the public like to speak, either in the room or online? If you are in the room, take a seat there, state your name, and there's 3 minutes.
Maybe just over. My name is Jim R. Schmidt. I live on the west edge of West Branch Township all my life. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. What I would like to address is the comment made by one of the commissioners last meeting when he said that it was Sharon Armstead's job to protect Marion County, not to facilitate wind. I've had the opportunity to serve on the Planning and Zoning Board for many years. What I appreciated about that opportunity was getting to know people from other areas of the county. These individuals had leadership roles in their churches, served on local school boards, and were members of volunteer fire departments and other local groups and organizations. They had opportunity to know what the local pulse of their area of Marion County felt like. And they did a good job of representing the thoughts of many of those from their parts of the county. Over the years, the Planning and Zoning Board has written the regulations concerning land use and reviewed them many times since they have been in existence. I feel these people had a broad connection with many of the people of Marion County. To say that the regulations were written to facilitate wind is somewhat correct. I feel the regulations were written as to limit wind turbines around densely populated areas. Unless you want to ban an industry, you need their input so that they can operate efficiently. Otherwise, you prohibit them by regulation. Having been on the board, I've heard lots of reasons why people don't care for wind turbines, most of which boils down to the way they sound and look, and they are large. I think what this board needs to decide before they spend any more money on attorneys, looking at the proposed regulations, or even doing population studies, is do what they want to say no to any more wind energy production in Marion County. When you do that, you're also saying no to any more income that Marion County would receive from this industry. According to the Marion County Treasurer's quarterly report ending April 30, 2025, it was $1,588,404.03. That's just money to the county. It does not include money paid to individuals, organizations in the county such as landowners, the local school districts, Marion Food Bank, and local fire districts and libraries, etc. Sharon Armstead is in a very unique situation that she is the county spokesperson for the Planning and Zoning Board. The Wind Energy Systems representative suggests to the Planning and Zoning Board what kind of restrictions they can operate efficiently under, and the board decides if that is reasonable or not. Sharon then passes this on to the commissioners for final approval. She is the one that is communicating between the two groups. In this process, she takes a lot of heat. As with any industry, whether it be ag-related, oil-related, or whatever the business is, large or small, there are benefits and drawbacks. This is a big one. You have big structures to look at, and you have potential for big money for the county. It is your job to decide what is best for Marion County. You are the ones that have to decide whether the benefits from the wind industry expanding into the county outweigh the downsides that some have expressed. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Anybody else online? Seeing none, close public forum. Go to agenda approval. Is there anything we need to add to the agenda?
We're gonna need a quick executive session to discuss hiring.
Tuck it in there in front of Brad.
Yeah, but Brad's not gonna be here.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard me say that. Or he may be here later,
Yeah, I thought I heard later.
maybe.
Okay. Anything else? All right, we'll move forward with the agenda as approved. Start off with administrative business. Ashley.
I'm gonna just kind of go in order of the packet. I have change orders.
Same ones that were in the packet.
Yes.
These are the ones we did last week, are they?
We didn't have any last week. They were the ones that were in the packet.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably looked at them in the packet.
That's all one.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, next we have June 9 minutes.
We had a chance to read the minutes. Questions, corrections? Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the minutes.
We have a motion?
Second.
A second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Next we have early checks in the amount of $36,933.02.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, the last thing I have, after the meeting last week, I looked up the fireworks. We go by the KAR 2265, which is the Kansas Administrative Regulations, and that was the dates June 27th through July 5th. So then I looked up the Senate Bill 199, and that is June 20 through July 7th. I sent both of those to Brad. I have not gotten an answer back, so I was hoping he'd be here today. So do we want to table that?
20, so if we table it, it's all the same, so.
The start date's different.
What was this?
The 20th.
The 20th, by
June 20th.
Senate Bill 199 says June 20th. Otherwise,
They will probably have to issue a new administrative reg because of the statute change.
yeah, and I was asking him which one we go by, so he hasn't.
We're required to follow that?
No. No, we're allowed to make stuff more stringent. We just can't make it any more loose.
That's what I mean.
But really, that just applies to the sales,
The selling.
just to the sales.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to expand the time that they could market the sale.
Right.
What was the other date? The 20?
June 20 through July 7, and then June 27 through July 5th.
So it adds an extra week of sales opportunity. But the governing, that we go by,
We go by this KAR, which is the Kansas Administrative Regulations. That's what we've been going by.
So
if
that's,
we don't have anything new from them, we probably should just play it on the safe side this year.
so the Senate bill extended the sales date.
Yes.
And not the discharge.
Correct.
Extended, they could sell them year long if they got a brick and mortar, but they gotta jump through a bunch of hoops. This would just be tents.
My feeling is you extend it, they're gonna shoot them, and we don't have any way to police it.
Where are we at now?
Right now, we're doing June 27 through July 5th.
That's not good. We're good with leaving
Yeah, just hit
it 27 through the 5th.
That's where you're at, 27th through the 5th. You're at 27th through the 25th.
Yep.
You're there.
What we've
And
been,
I'm just looking at this,
Yeah, leave it alone. Looks like there's no
what we've been doing, so.
appetite to make it longer, so.
well, I mean,
I'm okay with adding sales up to the 20th, but I'm tiptoeing because we don't have the KAR, so.
Not I'm against sales, it's just, they're gonna discharge them, you can just, we can't regulate that.
I mean, I don't know if this says this act shall take effect and be enforced from and after its publication in the statute book. I mean, has it been published yet? I mean, it says the state fire marshal shall adopt rules and regulations as necessary for the purpose of implementing the provision of subsections C, J, and K. So, I mean,
So it's not official.
I'm and it's not even official yet, and I would be on the safe side, I would just leave it as is for this year.
What we've already put out.
That's it.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, in your packet, you do have the township population map from Sharon that you had asked for. And wanted to let you all know that the treasurer's office, in case you're not aware, treasurer's office and the district court are both closed for, on June 19th. The treasurer's office, the staff will be here, they'll be working and doing training and other things, but because the state is closed, the banks are closed, the post office closed, they can't really do their daily balancing with the banks. They won't have any support to do driver's license or vehicles. So that is the reason that they are closed to the public on that day. And so just wanted to make y'all aware of that. The rest of the county offices will be open to the public that day. So I heard back from, I also put, I'm gonna have Josh start sending a monthly tonnage report for you and for us to be evaluating. So that's in your packet. I heard back from BG Consultants. They're ready to meet with us whenever we're ready as far as the building project for the Peabody's property. I just wanted to check with the committee members, so Dave, Crowfoot, and Clark, as far as your availability. Are there certain days or times that work best for you or that don't work for meeting with them, so I can get that first thing scheduled?
I'm flexible.
Okay.
This afternoon I've got KDDA meeting, and then Wednesday I've got the Highway 56 meeting, but other than that, this week
Okay, so, and I know, Dave, you said you have a conflict on Wednesday mornings, so.
I could skip that.
Okay, I wonder, I'll see what works for them, like maybe Thursday would be a good day this week. But, we'll have to see if they're taking a holiday or not, so. But anyway, we can get that scheduled, and then I think he's gonna want to like just have a kickoff meeting and then possibly meet every couple weeks for a little bit, so. Let's see. We do have the, an employment agreement for the county appraiser. So that is, if you're ready to take action to appoint the county appraiser for the 4-year period, then that's something that I have on my list today, so.
Right. I move that we appoint Nicole Reed as Marion County Appraiser for the upcoming 4-year period beginning July 1, 2025, subject to terms laid out in the employment agreement as negotiated. Second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Okay. And I have that as, with my signature, but I didn't sign it until, I wanted to make sure you all were ready to take that action first, so. Okay. And aside from, well, I did put one thing on here, as a discussion item, the Marion County Leadership Program. It's getting a little bit more difficult with as busy as the people that are volunteering on that committee are to actually move forward with, getting the sessions planned and facilitated. So we do have, I just want to at least put it in the board's kind of line of sight that we might need to have somebody to administer that program. We do have money that's set aside in the endowment fund that can fund a part-time position to take care of facilitating that. So just something to think about.
When do we need to consider the change?
Well, we have an adult session that is scheduled to start in August, so it'll be going from August to October. And then we'll have the youth session that will be starting after that in the spring, so.
30 days before that starts.
Well, we're gonna have to maybe have another meeting and just see what everyone's availability is. We may have to either not offer an adult session for a period or look at trying to expand, find somebody to kind of fill in and help with that and actually be in charge of it. So I would say to answer your question, I mean, if we want to keep going, we probably need to be thinking about it pretty soon, but.
That'd be a paid position then, you have to find someone.
Yeah, I think you could do a part-time paid position, but pay it out of the actual leadership fund where it's not being paid out of tax dollars. So
Is there anybody within our current employment or departments that would consider this? Do you think?
I have a
Top
thought,
of your head?
but I'm not gonna say,
Throw them under the bus?
Yeah, no.
That'd be a thought.
Not under their current structure of
Job description
departments,
or whatnot.
right, so,
We could explore that at some point, that might give us an option.
It's a half-time job almost, just to
yeah, probably.
get organized. Plan the trips.
It would be I don't know if it would be at least half-time, but it would be, I think they would have something to do pretty much all year, just a few hours a week, right? So. And I have thought about,
How to
current-
facilitate that or approach that some ways somehow.
what?
How to facilitate or approach that to somebody that's already currently employed.
Yeah, most people are pretty, at their capacity as far as what they have time for within the current employment. But I have given that some thought. I have some ideas on it. I just wanted to kind of gauge and see what the board would like to, what your opinion is.
I think it's very important that we try to keep it going.
I agree with that.
So shall I explore some options and?
Come back to it.
Hard nose here, is there?
I can do that. Other than the hiring discussion, that's the only thing that's all that I had.
A little ahead of schedule, but that works. You got the floor.
Oh goodness. Did not get something to you guys before I budget, so I do have this, this is the funds that come in on 911. I only have till April on this paper for you guys, but it goes along with my budget previously, so that way you guys know kind of what comes in on a monthly basis from 911 fees. And that's how we base our budget for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
That's what it's for.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It was a little different last year, so, okay. Jeff said he gave you guys all the copies previously. Is that correct? 'Cause I don't.
I'm sure he did.
Okay.
Was it different than what you had sent to me by email? Cause that's what I put in their packets.
No, I don't think it was any different than what we had, that I sent you the last time when we updated it.
Okay.
So, cause I had packets and I had sent them with Jeff that day.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my kids had eye doctor's appointments and it's hard to get kids an eye doctor's.
You got an appointment.
Huh?
Or any kind of appointment.
Oh, that's true. That is very true. And I definitely didn't want to reschedule for them. Okay, so, which, do we have any? Okay. That's,
She's got the budget planning
okay, let me,
document up there first.
apparently I don't have a copy of that. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so the budget, the equipment purchases for 2025 that or anticipate for 2026, we actually, dispatch has a fridge in there currently that is from 1984. It's from the old jail, which may need to be replaced before the end of the year. So that would actually come out of my 2025 budget. So unfortunately, it's older than I am, so it may need to come out, so hopefully it lasts a little longer, but otherwise it might come out of my current budget for 2025. Any personnel changes for 2025? I'm hoping to hire at least one, if not two part-timers. We are currently full staffed with full-timers, so it's pretty great. Haven't been that way in many years, so it's pretty awesome to have full staff currently.
Does the part-time, is the purpose of the part-time to kind of help cover vacation and
Yes,
leave
and
things like that?
yes, so right now currently I'm filling in everybody's sick leave and vacation. So I'm making sure that everybody can use all their vacation and sick leave, so I'm filling in a lot of extra days to help facilitate that, so. Part-timers would be nice to have a little bit of leeway, so that way if I take vacation and somebody else wants vacation or someone's on sick leave or something like that, then we definitely have somebody to cover it.
Which training goes into a new hire?
Approximately 600 hours.
Wow.
So they technically are kind of full-time to start with when they hire as a part-timer because there's just so much training. So they actually do 3 to 4 months of full-time training. So they train with the same person every day that they work those same days, those same hours. And then after that, after they've been through that part and they can do everyday job functions they can do everything by themselves, they become a second dispatcher. So then they can be the second person on shift because we always have 2 on shift at all times. So yeah, it's quite a bit actually.
That's an investment.
Yes, it is. And so having somebody that is willing to do that and then go to part-time, because we're full-time to go into part-time, so they can't have another job generally. So it's hard to find someone that can actually do that, those steps along the way. Any situations, to finish out the year, the new computers for all 3 stations, it's a necessary upgrade that starts in October. I was informed of the 3 computers. It actually is a total of 6 now, unfortunately. So I'm still waiting on Lloyd to get back with me on all the costs and upgrades and how much everything's going to be. So I did discuss it with Tina at our budget meeting that we had, that there was gonna be work done that was not in the budget previously for last year, or for this year from last year. So I was actually hoping to get it done next year, but it's not apparently working that way, so. Any other matters of importance? Training will be up from previous years as the new hires that we had did CPR and EMD, which is emergency medical dispatch, which is our giving instructions for medical calls at the time. So say if you need CPR, childbirth, what is it for someone with an allergy? EpiPen, sorry. We can actually instruct people how to do those things. So that's part of our medical training. And generally we wait till someone's been at the sheriff's office for about 6 months or so to do that, since it is an extensive and kind of expensive training. It's about $425 per person, so that kind of went up a little bit this year since we had a couple new hires. And in-person training in APCO, which would be the APCO conference, which is where we can go to Wichita and go down and meet with everybody throughout the state and get knowledgeable things and how to do things better than what we're doing now, how to upgrade stuff, how to look at CADs and other things like that. And just vendors that will help us hopefully do the better job than we do currently. So always help to improve. So again, we're looking into options for a CAD system, which is our computer aided dispatch, which is where we put all of our calls. So anytime a call comes into the sheriff's office, we always log it into our computer aided dispatch so we can look at it later and reference it. Anytime radio traffic, everything is always logged in there. So Unfortunately, our system doesn't work great with some of the new, like Active 911, it doesn't work great with. It's just because, and it's not a very user-friendly system, unfortunately. And I would prefer not to upgrade the system that we currently have, but look at something better that could be better for our county and help our responders. So. And then, just
What do you want her to go to next?
we can go into the dispatch. I might have sent it. We can go,
Mr. Treasurer. Might be a different,
Dr. Treasurer.
oh, it's after treasurer.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's through 911.
It's only 911 right there.
That's the only dispatch thing I have right there.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
If we go ahead and do 911, then we
Okay,
can make
that's
copies of the dispatches.
Here's the dispatch one.
Thank
Thank you. Okay, so E911 fund, the first line is our revenue and interest, which shows the interest throughout the year from our account for when the money has received from the 911. It's what everybody's charged on your cell phones every month, and it comes through to us, and that is our monthly allowance basically from the state and to fund all of our 911 stuff. So as you see in your printout I just gave you, that's currently what our total is for the first 4 months that we've received this year. I don't have May on there, I'm so sorry. Currently with the contractual services, we have the electrical tower, which is a tower that we pay for so that we have radio systems and stuff like that, and also it's the generator basically and the Evergy bill on it. Equipment and maintenance contracts, it's $65,000, and on the next page, I do have it broke down for each contract and how much each contract does cost us every year. And these are all the main contracts that would, why that balances. I have it just a little bit higher than what it would be, just because I don't know if anybody's gonna raise any prices this year due to inflation. So, additional equipment maintenance is just a little bit over 1,000, I think, which is about what I had last year. But generally under most of the contracts, everything is covered for maintenance wise, so they will replace most of the equipment for us. Phone lines and long distance, we actually pay for 4 phone lines just because we had multiple phone lines that come into the sheriff's office for 911 and for admin lines, so unfortunately pay quite a few. But that is broke down, and actually if you do, I do have color copies. I can make more color copies of the expenses and how they're broke down each year. I actually have them broke down by color, which was included in the original packet, so I'm so sorry if you don't have those still. But I can make some more if you'd like, or I can email them also.
If you just wanna email whatever the
I think
things
I-
that you brought over, and then,
I think I emailed these to you.
okay, that might have been in the first time. If you can
Yes,
just,
it might have been in the first email, yes.
you just wanna email everything that you brought today as one
Can
email,
do.
and then I'll send it to them.
Okay,
That would be lovely.
Training and dues is up a little bit again, cause I was talking about how we have new hires that do require new training. And then miscellaneous contractual, I have that as 2,000, and that's just mainly to see if if it will work to get the dispatch center fully cleaned, and we actually have a company that comes in and cleans all of our computers, they clean all of our wires, they clean behind our desks, they clean our vents and everything to make our room healthier for us. So it's something we did not do this last year, and we could notice a difference in how much everybody was sick, honestly. Supplies and miscellaneous commodities is what it was last year. We don't anticipate anything major. And then capital outlay and other, we do have it to where if we need to, we can replace the one other screen that we have that is a touch screen. But we have that just for just in case fund at this time. So that brings my total this year, for proposed for 2026 is 90,000. Does anybody have any questions
It's
about?
amazingly efficient. You actually lowered it.
I did lower it. So we did lower it down because we did remove the third budget from the station, or the third station from the budget. Mainly because when I started looking at all the budget and the numbers and everything, it just was not feasible to keep it in there. It wasn't feasible to have that extra money going out every year. So if we could lower it, and that's how I did lower it quite a bit, actually.
Very good.
I really crunched the numbers. I tried to get as low as I could and really figure out where I could take away something, but try to keep something like the cleaning service coming in. We definitely had more sickness this year than we have had in the last couple years because we did not have them come in and do the cleaning service, and we kind of need it because we can only clean so much with all the system there, but they come in and they remove everything from the walls, they wipe down everything, they vacuum everything, they clean our vents, and so our air is filtered in there, so it's fantastic to have it done because you sit in the room for 12 hours a day, so. There's a lot of stuff that gathers in that time on the floor around computers, you would never know. And it would help, and it does help too, to help longevity on the computers because that dust is not blowing around. So. Is there any other question? Okay, so you guys have now the dispatch one. It's a little higher than last year, and that's because we moved one of our contracts also from 911 funds to the main fund, just because Tina and I had discussed it and we're a little concerned last year about funds too, so that was another reason why we kind of moved it. It's for our Smart Cop, which is our annual maintenance agreement with them, and it's approximately, actually I think I have the number on the back for you, $15,268. That's our biggest contract we have, and that's just our yearly maintenance and fee with them. So that way they come and fix our equipment if we need to, so. That was moved over into the main dispatch fund from 911, so that helped lower that also. Unfortunately, then it did raise our dispatch fund. Our advertising, actually, we have it up a little bit. We did have quite a bit of advertising this year that we didn't previously have. And that's just because we were trying to get people to come in and fill out applications. Unfortunately, we used Indeed and it did not help get anybody to come in. A lot of people put in resumes, but they did not come in and fill out an application. And unfortunately, they have to come in and fill an application with us to move forward with the hiring process. So it's just unfortunate that no one came. So we do have that up as a little higher because I still would like to find another avenue of advertising for the part-time position. I just don't want to use Indeed and rely on it. So if anybody has any good suggestions, I would be gladly to hear them. Internet and Vive and AT&T and Universe, those are, we have to have 2 lines into our sheriff's office, so we have a main line and a backup. So if one goes down, we constantly have internet for our phones and everything else that comes into the office. To cell phone and cell phone is about what it was last year. I think it might be a little cheaper. The copier is definitely cheaper than last year because we did not pay off the old one. We have a constant contract with them currently. IT services went up just a little bit just because we seem to have more things done with IT than we previously have, and some of that's to do with new hires because they require to be set up on all of our computers, so that's 3 computers and multiple stations, so it requires a little bit more work to get done in there. Miscellaneous contractual, which is the Avaya maintenance contract and your Smart Cop maintenance contract, which is on your second page there. And it's broke down a little bit extra just in case anything goes up. I don't anticipate them going up. But again, we have to prepare for, unfortunately, the worst. Culligan water actually went down a little bit, so the Culligan water is actually our only filtered water voice in the sheriff's office and dispatch. So, but the use actually has gone down, so. And then office supplies and miscellaneous commodities have went down. Cause I don't see we don't use actually a whole lot of office supplies, mainly pens and some other things that we constantly use for signing paperwork and stuff like that and filling out papers for different things. Computers and equipment actually was raised because of believing that I was going to be able to use next year's budget to pay for computers that are needing to replace this year, unfortunately. So it did go up a little bit on that. And then, again, the miscellaneous contractual is higher than previous just because Tina and I had discussed it and moved one contract from one place to another. That'll offset costs. And I will get these broke down, color coded, so hopefully they make sense to everybody. Emailed to
Big on the
Tina.
Big on the colors.
I like to be able to see where I'm at and why, because if I have multiple things that come out one month, it's the same color for why it's that color, and then I break it down for bills each month. So I'm a little obsessive about it.
I use them for
It's all right.
especially on blueprints, so.
I can see that, yes, yeah. So, and I will get that email to Tina, and then that way she can get it to you guys, and it will have 2024, so you can see how my budget was in 2024 and how it related to what I had. And then I actually have 2025 filled out through April, so it'll be there too. I'll have that one also for you guys.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? Anything I need to explain anymore? I'll do my best. Okay.
You're gonna get picked on too bad. You go down in budget on the ones.
I know. I've actually felt really good about coming down in budget some, and so that made me. I worked really hard, so. But yeah. Well, if you guys have any questions at any time, feel free to ask. I will always explain, and if I don't know the answer, I'm definitely gonna find it for you. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
You too.
Your turn.
Here over there.
All right.
I know, it's after lunch.
I've been cutting back on monsters, so.
First of all, good for you. Second of all, how you doing?
It's fine.
Read articles, huh? Read articles.
No, I just decided I didn't need 5 or 6 a day, so.
Kidneys are probably thank you. All of any other.
You'll be a fine example to all the younger kids out there. I appreciate that.
Turn old first.
So, just, you guys all have a copy of my budget planning questionnaire. The one thing that, was kind of unexpected, we had 2 older, computers, that were from 2018 that I knew on the horizon we would probably have to look to update. What I didn't expect was there were 2 computers that we had purchased in 2020 that have gone bad or are going bad before them. So we've already replaced one of the computers that were purchased in 2020, and we're gonna have to look at replacing the other one. But I still feel like maybe it's the cans and the other shoes gonna drop thing, but I feel like those other 2 don't have long to be with us. And Lloyd Davies did say it's better to get ahead of it and replace it before it actually goes out on you, which we've had that experience where the computer went down and that particular clerk couldn't help any customers, couldn't be, you know, they were out of commission for a while. So we think that in 2026, we're looking at replacing probably 3 computers, and they are approximately $1,200 each. I looked up, interestingly enough, back in 2023, they were about $1,200, $1,277. In 2025, the one that we just bought was about $1,166, so it was a little less in 2025. I don't know if I can count on that, so I just rounded up to $1,200 and hope that that'll be adequate. But as far as equipment, I think that's the only thing on our horizon that we were pretty sure we're gonna have a need for replacing. Everything else seems to be doing pretty well. I should say we've replaced battery backups here in 2025 as well. 2 of them, within the last 5 months. So battery backups are also, we're going through them fairly quickly, it seems like, but I don't foresee or expect that we'll have to replace any of those. I guess we'll find out what happens. Anticipated personnel changes for 2025 or 2026, probably starting already. Julia's, our deputy treasurer, is trying to receive additional treasurer type of training, accounting and budgeting kind of training, mostly because when I have to be gone to conferences and things like that, she steps up to the plate and she's wanting to better understand how some of that works. And so I've been trying very hard to get her some of the training that she thinks will help her. With that, I would expect that with additional knowledge and skills, it would support a step wage for that, step increase. Also, Caitlin, who was just hired May 4th, I think I said that wrong, May 4th. She started on as admin 1, has already gotten through all of her movers training, and she's been doing very well with that. And we've currently got the background check going for her to do driver's license training as well. We're just waiting for the background check to clear, which I'm sure it will, and then she can move on and receive that training. So after she's able to issue driver's licenses, we do wait until they've completed all of the KDOR training and they are actively issuing driver's licenses before we bump them up to the admin 2 level. So just passing the class doesn't quite warrant it until they're actually effectively able to be issuing licenses to our Marion County residents. So at that point, sometime here, either later in 2025 or 26, she will be at the next step in our office, the admin 2 level. Any unique situations in our office, I think, really are just that we were without a full-time employee between January and March of 2025. Took us a while to fill that position. We did finally fill the full-time position in March of 2025 with Jonna Sanford, who also, kudos to those ladies, they picked up the training really fast. They are both very good at working through things, and they're getting through the training and helping customers very quickly. I'm just so thankful at how fast they've learned everything that it takes to help our customers. Another part-time person, we have a part-time person who in 2025 was our work study student. And we realized the need, she's very good at it, and we realized that she could help us process tax payments and simple processes in our office. And so we asked if we would be able to hire her on as a part-time employee because we had been without a part-time employee for about a year. And so we were able to do that and take her on part-time, and she's doing a great job. She's stayed with us through most of the summer part-time. She does a lot of our inputting, data entry, things like that, and she can do some simple receipting, which does help us a lot, especially at tax time. We have a different part-time person that's filling in Tuesdays and Thursdays through mid-August. She actually is updating all of our web and our public notices. We noticed on our site a lot of the license plate information, a lot of the information about the office was out of date and sometimes incorrect. And I would have loved to say that I would have had plenty of time to work on that, but we just haven't, and we knew that there was a need to make it accurate because a lot of people are getting their information from the internet on our website and not necessarily from the newspaper or from calling our office. They're looking us up online first, and we want the information that's on there to be right. She's done a great job. She's only with us for a short time, but she has gotten us up to speed on so many things. So we appreciate her a lot. I don't really have any other matters of importance to preparation of the budget, other kind of things, but unlike the road and bridge department and some of the other departments that have large pieces of equipment which are required and crucial for what they do, for me, my employees in the office are the important part of what we do. Having an employee that is skilled and trained and able to help the customers well is the most important part of what we do, for accountability, for respect and integrity in our office. We have to have the right people in place with the right training to make sure that the help we give our customers is accurate. And so I feel like our employees and their knowledge base are the most valuable resources and assets to our citizens of Marion County, and therefore it does make sense to invest our budget in paying them commensurate with their skills and experience. As they get training, as they take on new skills and new duties, it's really important to pay them adequately so that we can retain the people that we've invested training in and allow them to help our people well. Is there any questions about any of that? Sorry. Okay.
Basically hit on it. Your budget is where it's at because your personnel services.
Yeah, I stayed the same. I requested the same on contractual services. No one really knows how much things will go up, but so far we're doing okay. Same on commodities and capital outlay, but our personnel services, I think we need just a little bit more than last year just to make sure that we're keeping the employees who we've invested training time in, and we're paying them for the work that they're doing, because it's not the positions in our office, they are not basic clerking positions. There's a lot more in-depth training, certifications, things that they are required to know and learn. And there's three very, very different job responsibilities. Each one of the clerks really kind of does the job of three different kind of people. They know everything that there is to know about driver's license. They know everything there is to know about vehicles and renewals, and they know everything there is to know about tax. So it's a lot. And our job description in our office needs some work and some love, and I struggled to know how to describe it. I'm a linear and a number person, so for me it made more sense to do a spreadsheet and start with our basic entry level duties. Someone that we first hire in off the street at our admin 1 position, what kind of things do we need for them to already know and for us to be able to train them within the first month or two. They should be doing all of these things. And our admin 1 greeter was hired May 1st, and she already can do all of the things in those areas. Our admin 2 vehicle person has only been here since March. She's doing all of those basic positions. And then when we move on to the next page, we're looking at our skill level 2 duties. And you'll notice anything with asterisk, it actually requires completion of KDOR training. They have to complete the training, take the testing, and pass the testing before they can be able to do these processes. So even in skill level 1, someone walking off the street cannot be renewing people's tags, especially cannot be doing any title work until they've passed all the KDOR training. Job level 2, skill level 2, those require all of the training, including the testing for being able to issue driver's licenses and replace lost licenses. It's really in depth. I mean, I wish everybody could see the level of training it takes to be able to legally issue legal binding ownership of vehicles, to be able to issue driver's licenses that show legal forms of identification, federally accepted forms of identification. It's not a small thing, and it's a lot of knowledge that goes into that, and that's only skill level 2 in our office. So there's a lot that goes in it. Do you guys have anything else I haven't touched on? the budget.
You talked about driver's license. Are you gonna be able to process more for the year? Do you have more help?
Good question. Getting more help is the first step.
Yes.
The other thing that's kind of a struggle is, I don't know if you're aware, we collect $3. $3 of every driver's license we do stays in the county. And so budget-wise too, we have to be aware of, paying a person to exclusively do driver's license would not be feasible. Doing more, I think we're getting closer to when we have enough people to help. We might be able to cram in more appointments during a day or include extended times when we can do that. I think yes.
This year, people have to wait so long.
To get an appointment time, yeah.
Maybe we can charge them more to get in quicker.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Is it $3 by law?
Yes. Yeah, so there's only a certain fee. Ours can go up a little bit, but currently, there is a limit to the fee that we can charge as part of the driver's license fees. Yeah, that stays here in the county. We're not up to the top of the limit yet, we can increase it.
And people would pay more to get it quicker.
Yeah.
Everything's quick nowadays.
Yeah, and you only renew your license every 4 to 6 years, once every 4 years, once every 6 years.
Sneaks up on you.
Yep, we just need to convince people when you first get that yellow card, please call us then, instead of waiting until a week or two before your birthday, so.
Next week.
Yeah, so we really do wanna just build awareness, and the other thing that our part-timer that we've got for the summer is doing is she's building some did you know kind of ads that we can do either on the Facebook pages or in the announcements and things like that to let people kind of become aware of things that we need them to know. Most of the time there were no appointments required, but now every driver's license office has appointments. But people, they haven't renewed for the last 6 years and they're coming up new. This is new to them. Anybody in the last 6 years who hasn't been renewing their license, it's not going to be something they're used to. So, and this started in 2020, so we're still not to that 6-year mark when the people that started having to make appointments are now getting to renew their license. So, we're definitely going to try to get the word out better to let people know as soon as you get that yellow card. Please give us a call.
That's probably the biggest gripe that I've heard over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, making an appointment.
We were all used to just walking in and doing it.
Over in McPherson, just recently there, they basically, there's a seating about there like that. And if you walk in and you don't have an appointment, you're allowed to sit down, but anybody that has an appointment gets first right. So you could possibly sit there all day.
Yes, you could, yeah.
But they still allow walk-ins, but it always has to be in between appointments.
Yeah.
And if they've been sitting there and an appointment walks in, they go.
Yeah.
That's how they run it.
Our CDLs, usually it's fine, I can get in unannounced, and if you go to Wichita, you're not gonna get there. Unless you start at 8 o'clock in the morning, be willing to sit 4 or 5 hours to get there.
I will tell you the one thing that we appreciate about the appointments, it used to be you would show up and maybe you could walk right in and get in, have everything you need and get taken care of and leave. You may have to wait in line. You didn't know if it was gonna be for 10, 15 minutes or an hour and a half, you didn't know. But you also would wait 10, 15 minutes or an hour and a half, get to our desk, and you didn't bring along all the things that you needed. We really appreciate the ability to talk to people when it's time to renew their license because we can tell them exactly what to bring, exactly when to come, and we get them in, taken care of, and out the door. We really appreciate
Checklist
that.
before they come is,
Yeah, we tell them everything they need to bring along. We talk about what they have versus what they don't have.
especially getting that ID on them.
Yes, yeah.
Struggles the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been helpful, definitely helpful in that manner because we have the opportunity to talk to people ahead of when they show up at our desk. That way we don't have to turn them away because they don't have everything they need. And that causes a lot of frustration to people when they, get to us after waiting all that time and don't have all the things that are needed. And those are all state requirements. Those are not Marion County employee requirements. Those are state of Kansas requires certain things for renewing Kansas driver's licenses, and we don't control that.
It's become quite more stringent.
Yeah, sure has, yeah.
Anybody else got any questions?
Did you, I noticed, we did make changes since the last time we talked about the, money market bank accounts. We've closed, Enterprise and Vintage money market accounts and transitioned those over to CDs, with the same banks, but there was CDs at a much higher interest rate, and so, got those.
Doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate you talking it out. I actually had watched it and wondered, it's tough for me to make decisions not knowing a whole lot of the history of some of those things, so, and knowing that there are times when we need to have the funds available to pay out quickly, so I just wanted to watch it and make sure I knew, what needed to be free.
Most of the time on those money market accounts and CDs, even though you might have to take an early withdrawal penalty, you still end up with more than what you were getting on the money market.
Yeah. And there's a new trend towards sweep accounts too. I've had discussions with Enterprise and Central about sweep accounts, and that's something that's available as well that I've been talking with them about. So we're looking into it and trying to make good decisions based upon that. But you all represent your districts and your constituents, and I often wonder for myself what the people of Marion County feel is a priority, making the absolute best interest rate possible, or also leaving some, not all, not the greatest portion of it, some county funds in the smaller banks who are also making out our local ag loans and vehicle loans, and people are doing business with them as well. So I wonder if the people of Marion County really feel strongly one way or the other that it's really important to just put it all towards the highest interest thing we can do, or if they do want us to keep some, county funds in the smaller local banks as well.
Question.
So if you guys get some input from your constituents, please let me know. I would be interested to know how they feel about it.
At this point, I'd like to,
I've had more people over the years question me why we were putting it in Topeka than keeping it here.
Oh, in MIP, yes, yeah. Good question, yeah. And the wording of the way they word it is, if you can get rates here that are comparative to what you can get there, choose here first. And I that's the way I feel is the right way to go. But if you've got banks here who cannot or will not try to give us a competitive rate for public funds, that gives us an alternative, which is important as well.
well, under the difficult departure of Susan and you to pick up the slack, I want to thank you for all your efforts. Extra times I've seen you here after hours. We do appreciate that commitment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy.
Okay, so the last time.
He was patiently waiting.
This is my seat?
Yeah, that's your seat. Last time that we met, I've given you just a little update as far as the building and where we are budget-wise and all of that. And so I think the board had a few questions about some of the items. So, one of the big items was the drainage of the lot, and so that work has been done to put that flume in that they were. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
That's a weird word, but
Doesn't sound
I thought
very-
maybe it needs a little.
Water out.
It needs
I guess
like
that's the
some.
definition of it.
It needs some more fun way to say it.
Off.
So that has been done. But I think that probably the biggest issues and some things that the board had questions about were, one, the air conditioning unit for the vaccine room. I think there were some questions about that.
Is the condensing unit big enough to handle a second register, or
No,
it's gotta
have to be added. There would have to be another condenser added.
is there any value added in the unit that is no longer usable?
Well, it would, I think we would just keep it how it is and add an additional.
Additional seat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I wouldn't get rid of what you've already got. I don't see any point in
You
that.
have a backup that way.
Well, yeah, sometimes they send out a condensing unit and multiple units go.
Right, yeah, so in this case, we would just add an
So
additional.
it'd be another independent, okay. That was my only questions.
Me, I was against the facility.
Well, you can be against it,
And
but
we
you
spent
still,
way too much money on it already.
still gotta,
So some of the main issues that we're still kind of fighting are some of the drainage, like and moisture coming in, like the roof was leaking, we had some
Right, so
moisture coming in, we have
I
a
wouldn't
funny smell now.
Well, I wouldn't say that the roof was leaking. There was a couple penetrations inside the building where the roof curbs were leaking. We found that there were some screws that didn't have rubber washers on them. We went ahead and replaced those. Those, like the one in the files room, that was previous to that. So there isn't a leak there anymore. And we were able to tell that was at a roof curb. So we have fixed that. I feel like we went ahead and replaced the tiles actually this morning. And then the other one was between the vestibule or the canopy and the building. That canopy was built as a separate structure to the building. And so there's just a piece of flashing that goes in between the canopy and the building. And there were some issues with how that was installed originally, and we have replaced that since then, and that has fixed the issue that we were having. We were having some drips inside the vestibule and staining some ceiling tiles. We have mitigated that as well. I don't believe you have a musty smell inside the building. I have gotten a second opinion on that, and we feel like it's just, that attic space, that upper space is pretty tight, and there's nowhere for those new construction smells to get out. And I think it's just circulating through the building at the moment. I really don't believe there is a issue with a musty smell. I know it's a different smell for them, but I really feel pretty strongly that it's just, new construction materials.
So I know
Way to
that,
vent that anyway.
There really isn't. We kind of visited about that when we went and looked at it. And all those walls go to deck. All your interior walls go to deck. So, we could put some vents in there, but I don't know how good it's gonna do. Yeah, because there's no way to draw the air across everything.
It's not an open
And
plan.
pull it out,
Make a complete circulation of it.
Right.
The reason we had to build a deck is because
Sound purposes.
they wanted us so we couldn't hear.
Right.
Well, you've also got some rooms for security too. Like your med rooms and stuff like that, you gotta have security where somebody can't just pop a tile, climb over and jump in the next room.
Right.
So,
So.
you found a leak that fast, it's pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, they were,
It's
they
been
were
an
drip-
ongoing
they were
process.
drips when they showed up on the ceiling tile.
Had a lot of rain.
I do a lot of metal buildings and God, them guys chase them leaks.
Yeah, if you've got a leak in there, you're gonna be chasing them, but like I said, we've been through, I know there's concerns of, with the smell and everything of there being other leaks. We've been in there about 3 times. The last time I brought our metal building supplier in, and we poked our head all across that building, and we've had enough rain, if there were any other leaks, it would be showing up somewhere. We've had almost 13 inches of rain in the last 30 days, and that would show up somewhere.
how are your columns doing now with the water coming in through there?
We're still trying to troubleshoot that one. I don't know that we can fix it, but we're gonna try. I don't know why, there's some funny angles going on up there at that vestibule, and I don't know if it's a factor of that or if we actually have an issue, but we have water tested that canopy. There is not water coming from the roof or through the roof and into the canopy space. But I really feel like it's just the angles of the way that's all pitched back to those columns, and everything just drains there. And I I believe it's that, but we're gonna keep kind of seeing if we can't troubleshoot that, do a couple other things on that canopy roof to see if we can't mitigate that. We're not giving up yet.
Cause it's almost like instead of coming out, like those columns have a drain spout.
Right, so that roof, tips up at the front and then it tips up at the back. And it meets, the low point, is at the face of those columns. And so, it has that angle plus about 6 foot on the east and the west side, slopes back to the east and the west face of the columns. And then you've got 3 or 4 foot of the front face that slopes back in. So everything goes to that inside. And if you get much rain, if you get a wind-driven rain, you're gonna get some water that's gonna follow that natural slope back to those columns. So I really can't tell if it's because of that or, if we've got water coming in at the fascia and it's running down the column and just coming out the face. It does appear that there is some coming from the soffit. I can't tell exactly where yet.
Isn't that though the architect's problem and not yours? I mean, your
Well,
problem is
I don't
the
wanna
facility.
just,
He ought to be telling you.
right, I don't wanna just say that it is. I speculate that it
We
could
paid
be,
him a lot of money.
right? I mean, I don't wanna completely throw that out the door on my part, but, we still want, I live in this town and everything. We wanna try to do our due diligence to make sure it's not an issue from our end.
But I mean, you built what he engineered.
Yes, sir.
And
With some changes because we wanted it less expensive.
Right.
Yeah, so they had to do some.
Yeah, some slight,
Changes.
as far as
it doesn't matter if he says that he can do it if we spend less or not. He should have said, you can't do it.
Right.
There was an issue with one of the doors that seemed to be a major problem, so, you wanna just talk about that?
Yeah, I can. So, I know that so that door has stuck since we completed the project.
This is an exterior metal.
Right, it has had the worst issue with just functionality. It sticks, and I know that they have to use some pretty good force to get that door open. And so this last go around when we replaced all the weather stripping on the exterior doors, we took a second look at making some adjustments to that door to see if we can get it operating better than what it is. And we had to get pretty aggressive with that to make it operate like it should. That top end of that door is really tight. As it came from the manufacturer, it was naturally that tight. And so we did some grinding on the top corner of the door. Ultimately, we ended up having to grind, as well as we took a hydraulic jack and had to spread the hinges out to really get it to work properly. And we caused a penetration through the skin of that door. And it is common practice to patch that with a Bondo type material and sand it down and repaint it and refinish it. And there's actually, the manufacturer will send exterior doors with that already that situation. They've already put Bondo material across the top channel of that door and done the same thing that we did to fix the hole in the face of the door. And I feel like the hole in the face that we created when we were working on this door is all cosmetic. There is actual structural piece to that door, and the metal that you see on the outside is just the skin of the door. I don't believe that we have caused any issues with the functionality or the purpose of the door. It's all purely cosmetic. I wouldn't see it necessary to replace the door.
Commissioner Dirks, I know you've seen the photos of that. I'm
That
curious your
Bondo
thoughts.
Pretty good. I mean, my concern is 5 years down the road, you get moisture penetrating that.
So they use Bondo to cap the top of that door. It currently, before we did anything to it, or before we even installed it, the manufacturer put Bondo on the top cap of that door. So the manufacturer has faith in it. if they're using that to weather seal it. So, and we do that a lot. You know, whenever we get, you know, sometimes you have to field modify those doors and frames, and when we have to do that, we use that stuff to patch the holes. So I have faith in the material that we use to patch it.
I'm just
Weather, as a weather seal, yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I guess my concern is, you know,
You know, I you know, if it would help you guys, I would be willing to warranty that longer than our standard warranty, if that helps. I just don't really feel like it's necessary to replace that door.
and that's all I'm saying is, you know, 5 years down the road, if this door, I know how stuff around here flexes and tweaks. And
I can understand.
And I know what Bondo does when you get it in a bind and.
Right.
I just, you know, I hate to see moisture penetrate that and all of a sudden in 2-3 years we got a big, I mean, you can already see there was some rust showing up already just, you know, after you.
Well, that was from the previous time that we ground on the door and we hadn't gotten it painted yet, so.
So, I mean, I guess that's my concern is that, you know, if there's any moisture penetration in there.
Well, I would not be concerned about that from my standpoint, but.
Thank you. I don't know if there's anything else.
So we just need to make a decision to go ahead with the new
The air conditioning
air
unit.
conditioning unit to resolve that issue and be done with it.
Had my questions answered, so I make a motion to move forward.
An additional unit.
It's a standalone. Handle the, not the IT room,
And we-
Vaccine room.
the vaccine room.
Right, and we did actually look at adding just another cassette to the existing system, so we have in that truck.
Usually the condenser has to be
Sized
sized to take on 2 or 3.
And it's at capacity, so.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on the air conditioner? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Good. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for your input.
I would.
Prairie View was out there. Seen her step by and step back. You're gonna do most of the talking.
Most of it, maybe not all of it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Start.
Well, thank you all for taking time for Prairie View. So I know you guys got the letter with some of our information in it, so I'm just gonna kind of highlight and go over some of the information. Since the beginning of my time here, we have become a certified behavioral health clinic, or a CCBHC, which then helps improve funding for our organization, but only for those folks that have Medicaid as a payer source. So there are still other payer sources that either are folks are uninsured or underinsured. And by underinsured, it would be, say, someone has private insurance, Medicare, or Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Aetna, something along those lines that doesn't cover crisis services, case management, supported employment, all kinds of different services. That's what we would consider underinsured. So within our last year, we've grown quite a bit. We have added support services that have improved the communities and stabilized individuals in the communities. Some of those are supported housing, supported employment, crisis services, school-based mental health services, and suicide prevention services. So on our school-based services, we're in 41 different schools within our Tri-County area. I think the only school We're not in HERA Center. So some statistics for Prairie View as it pertains to the Marion County area. We served 616 unique individuals. That's a 24% increase in individuals served from the prior year. The number of services that we provided was 16,540, which is a 26% increase in services provided to individuals over the past year. A majority of those patients are the uninsured, again, who don't have insurance, or the underinsured, who don't have insurance that cover the services. So with some of our services, we've been able to reduce the burden on schools, first responding agencies, jails, and emergency rooms through our school-based services, mobile crisis services, same-day access services, and our new urgent care unit. So if you don't know, we have mobile crisis that will either co-respond with law enforcement or in lieu of law enforcement if someone's in a mental health crisis and doesn't need law enforcement. And then our urgent care unit is a place where folks that are deemed to be in crisis but can't get into a hospital can come either voluntarily, or if they're waiting for a state hospital involuntary, we can hold them there as well. Law enforcement can drop them off with us and then get back into the force. I think our average turnaround time is less than 3 minutes for law enforcement to come in, drop off, and get back on the streets to be able to help continue to do their hard work. At our urgent care unit, through April of this year, so just 365 calendar days, we served 411 unique individuals. That doesn't mean they only came in one time, but that's 411 people that I think we provided over 1,000 services for those 411 people. From those folks, we were able to defer 93% of them from needing a higher level of care, so a hospital or a state hospital stay. So all of those things are services that we're providing to the communities that there really isn't any reimbursement for our urgent care unit unless they have Medicaid. Otherwise, private insurances don't pay for those, and we would never want someone who is in crisis to try to deal with a bill, so we just don't bill for those services. Prairie View employs 17 staff in the Marion County area with a total budget of $850,000. The last 2 years, retrospectively, we were asked for and awarded $97,000 and $99,000, and this year we're asking for a 10% increase for $109,000 for the upcoming year. So those are some of our stats, some of the things we're doing, and so I'll just stand for any questions if I can answer anything about questions or additional information you have about Prairie View and what we're doing for the community.
So where's the urgent care facility located?
It's in Newton.
I've been on this board quite a number of years, and every year they're asking for more money. The number of patients served goes up every year, the number of services go up every year, and yet Marion County's population does not go up. So what is causing this extreme middle situation in this county?
I would suggest that there are two things. One, Prairie View staffing has increased from 170 to nearly 400 in 2.5 years. So we have more people being able to provide more services. So less wait list, less deferment of people getting services. And two, the stigma of mental health is really kind of starting to decline. So folks that might not have otherwise sought services, the pandemic has done quite a great disservice to folks' mental health, and suicide rates are higher among adolescents and young adults as a result of the pandemic. So prevalence, social issues, and just the reduced stigma around seeking services, I would suggest, and our ability to serve more folks.
So McPherson County and Harvey County's population's going up. So is there a proportion of new services as high as Marion County's?
I don't have those stats in front of me, but everybody's services have, since we've increased staffing, their number of services and people served has substantially gone up. And especially with the urgent care unit now serving all 3 counties, those are folks that we're trying to divert from suicide attempts or hospitalizations. And so that is you're also going to see that service line along with mobile crisis services, increasing the number of services provided in each county. Again, those are preventative measures trying to support law enforcement and emergency departments.
I know in the past few years, there's the law enforcement side of making sure we're cohesively working together, it's gotten drastically better. Not that, maybe it was just misunderstood before, but it has gotten.
Yeah, we have actually, I think, coming out to Marion County and doing some training for direct service line levels of law enforcement providers about our urgent care unit. So we continue to try to partner and educate and offer services as much as we can.
So what is your total budget for your whole program, and where is that funding, where's the breakdown of that funding coming from?
So I don't know our total budget, we're in our current budget planning period, but our primary payer sources are about 45% Medicaid, and about, I don't know, John, you're gonna have to help me out on this.
Yeah, so total budget in terms of kind of our base costs, about 30 million. Okay, and that's for, the Tri-County area here, and then also Wichita, we have an office. And then from a funding source perspective, Medicaid is gonna be around that 50%, 55% range. There is funding from federal, which is gonna be around the 4 million range. So there's definitely a combination of kind of federal, state funding, and then with Medicaid being the biggest driver from an insurance standpoint.
The state, you said federal was about 4 million, but
Those are typically grants.
Grants,
Yeah,
sorry, yeah,
grant-
federal
So grant
grants.
funding is a large part.
the state steps in too, don't they? Kansas.
They do. I wouldn't say they do, and that helps for part of our urgent care unit, but doesn't. Again, I think we lost $2 million on our urgent care unit alone last year because there's no money to be made, but it's a service it's a state initiative, and it is something that our communities and counties really kind of said would help out, so.
It's under the impression that there was a photo op last year, so I figured the state kicked in more than that, so.
For the remodel of the urgent care unit, there was a one-time
Okay.
remodel, yes, but not anything that was service oriented. It didn't cover any kind of staff salaries or services. It was just a
So in
remodel.
essence, that was funded by the state.
Yeah. Other questions?
Put the budget. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you wanna do the hiring one first or the other one first?
Whichever one you're more prepared for.
It's up to you guys. Yeah.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personal hiring pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item number 1, for personal matters of non-elected personnel. With the board, Tina, present for
10 minutes.
until 2:10. With open session to resume back in the commission chambers following the closed session. Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Alright, out of executive session, no decisions made. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item number 1, for personal matters of non-elected personnel with the board. Tina, present for 15 minutes until 2:30. With open session to resume back in commission chambers following the closed session.
Second,
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay, out of executive session, no decisions made. Brad had court, so he's not gonna make it. Anybody else got anything else, commission comments?
Mike brought up a good point before the meeting, and he had gotten a map. If you remember right, we've talked in the past about selling the 10 acres that the county owns down on Pawnee, right?
It's on Old Mill,
Right next to the
just north of the old Port Farm. This is kind of a map.
We've
Where
act-
it's at.
Actually,
There is the Port Farm Cemetery here in the corner. This is a ravine that's growed back.
we actually started talking about selling that, 4 or 5 years ago? And just have it, and the county has had to go out there in the past and do quite a bit of work, and
Well, they cleaned it up extensively.
the way I understand it now, Road and Bridge has no interest in using it. And so if that's the case, I would make a motion that we'd start the process of getting that land transferred into Marion County Land Bank.
That's what Tina suggested, I think.
Yeah.
Get it some land bank.
Well, so the purpose of the land bank, I mean, you could also sell it outright, but the purpose of the land bank is to hold and sell and purchase property.
Right. I mean, I guess we could just put it up on auction too, as far as that goes,
Put it up for bid.
without doing that, but
It'd be,
it's sitting out there growing brush and trees, and
It's growing back to where there's no need to let that just go back to just a tree.
it would definitely have value out where it's at.
We just put it up for auction.
just my thought is you put it in the land bank, at least then we're not funding the land bank for any property demolition or something that may come down that the land bank has to do. So it gives it a source of a revenue.
Well, I think that was Tina's recommendation with what little bit we visited earlier.
So anyway, I guess I would make that a motion that we start that process and turn it over to Brad so that we can handle that at the next quarterly meeting, which I guess would,
Coming right up July 1st.
well, he's got plenty of time.
Yeah, right after
We
you get
can,
done
we
with
can
my
try anyway.
legal and enforceable.
Well, that's my motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
Would you want to restate that motion? It got a little, or do you have it?
Move to start the process to move that 10 acres into the land bank.
County Commission makes a motion to start the process of liquidation of the 10 acres on Pawnee, whatever that number
Old
is.
Mill.
Old Mill.
Old Mill.
And
To transfer that to the Marion County Land Bank.
I think it's off about 180th or
Guess
something.
I stumbled through that bad enough.
It's okay, thank you.
I'll get it.
Yeah, she's good, she's good.
I will still second it because you know the context of what was on.
Signature shorthand.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Another one?
No, that's it.
Anybody else?
Something that came up over the weekend, had a couple do a Father's Day event through the Lake Hall. And to find out when they put a lot of perishable items in the refrigerator on Saturday, decided the temperature wasn't good enough. Caused them quite the chaos to remove that Saturday evening, take it back to their house, put it on ice, try to get restarted on Sunday morning. And I would assume we should upgrade that refrigerator if it's not gonna keep that temperature.
Thought that Isaac was looking at some of those appliances. He brought it up once. Several of them need to be replaced.
This caused them a very inconvenience to it, and for somebody to try to set up something new, provide a food service there Sunday, it really caused them a lot of grief.
Well,
I hope
we
we
just
can
renting the building, we're not renting the kitchen.
Okay,
Anyway.
I'll work with
Yeah.
Isaac on that, unless the board doesn't want me to do
No,
that.
no, that's,
I think he knows what's going on.
Okay, sounds good.
He's on vacation, you missed it.
Anything else? So in our packet was a population density map. This is the information that planning and zoning just gave us not that long ago, and the population densities differ from what was. And it's because of the source.
Yeah.
So this is what we actually tasked them with to bring back to us. This is the most recent information that they sent us back. And this is what I went by.
So do you want to schedule something on the agenda to discuss?
Just passing it out so everybody could see. Because this is what was brought back to us on March 27th.
Right.
This is what we asked for planning and zoning, the board to provide. This is what they provided. So,
What are you saying?
I'm just saying we need to have a realistic view. This is what the information we asked for, and this is what we should be going by. So,
You go back to,
I'm not sure what we're gonna do here.
yeah, and you know, just a couple other points on, you know, there was concerns about water quality and groundwater impacts. I've got to next month go speak to Harvey County Rural Water District that services a bulk of that southwest corner of the county where they're talking about now. What I'm hearing now, of course, we haven't heard from the wind farm, but the grapevine, I'm hearing they're talking 75 to 115 600-foot towers, not 500-foot towers. I know the
Wind farm?
wind farm. I know the Harvey County Rural Water District is concerned about, you know, another 100-foot tall tower. It means your footing is that much deeper and that much more potential for impacting groundwater and so, you know, there's a lot of moving parts. I think the 200 is a good place to start, but if you look at this, we've got two
I included those on my back map. I mean, they were so close.
other townships at 190 and 195 that
I did not put them in the pink, but I put them in their own category of 190 plus.
yeah, so, I mean, I you know, we taxed them, it took them 5 months to get this back to us roughly, and I think this is what we need to go with. I mean, populations are gonna change.
So we'll put this on the agenda for next week, or
Well, I'd be fine with that.
is anybody?
Is Russ the lawyer that,
What are we gonna discuss? We just put a 4-year moratorium on.
Well, this would be what I asked for with a permanent ban on anything with 200 or population. Those are your growth centers.
Yeah, but you can't look at the growth.
And then you still gotta have, like Clark said, protections for all the ones that are still in white. That protects.
you know, what now?
And
So you have to still have policies in place, because not everything is covered. You still have to have Article 27 to cover the areas that aren't highlighted here.
Right, if you're just talking about a ban on 200 or more,
You still have other townships that still need.
You're not talking about, you're not just talking about wind towers, you're talking about all alternative energy.
We've just been talking about wind towers, but we can incorporate that.
I think you have to incorporate everything into it.
I know,
Solar panels or whatever the.
I'm not saying that at all. All I asked for was population density on townships and a map.
So the planning and zoning should get this.
They provided us this.
They're the ones that should make
If you read,
decisions.
if you read the top here, they provided it and included all the counties, or the townships.
That's kind of sorry, really.
That's the reason
So
why I
the-
wasn't trying to take any action or do anything, which is prove I'm allowed to not have an illegal meeting here and pass out this information.
Right, so the difference too is the township map that you just got doesn't have the city's population. It's just the townships.
Yeah.
These have the city populations included, so. Just glancing, I mean, I haven't looked at, compared anything, so. But, so is there anything, a topic you want on the agenda, or is this just information to add into, for the board's consideration for future discussions?
Is there a fire underneath this? We need to act on it right away. We're moving awful damn fast.
It's the whole reason you put a moratorium is so you can get stuff done.
We got it for six years now.
But it doesn't have to be on forever. It'd be on for forever if we don't do anything.
I mean, we can wait, there's a lawsuit underway right now, they're gonna have a hearing on Wednesday to
Oh, yeah,
put up
on the solar, that solar thing in Jackson.
Jackson County.
in Jackson County because they have failed to follow NEPA. And none of these, in my opinion, none of these have followed NEPA to the point.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
You know, one thing that needs to happen is the board needs to start the process of the comprehensive plan. And a lot of that is, so in the past, the last time we did the major big comprehensive plan, there was a consultant that worked with us on that to help facilitate all the public, because it should have a lot of public input, not just a little bit. So, and they can help determine what the county's goals for development and things like that should be. So I would say maybe start thinking about that process. I know one other county that just is doing a comprehensive plan, and I've got access to their request for qualifications and proposals for the firm that helped them with it, so but that's something to be thinking about. But in the meantime, maybe just have some monthly or every 6 weeks, have a meet and work session for these kind of matters where you're talking about any new information that you've come up with that you want the planning commission to consider, or that you want the other board members to consider. So maybe just start either monthly or every so often talking about
At
these
least
things.
bi-monthly, I would think.
Yeah, talking about these things so that you can decide what progress is appropriate. But in the meantime, that comprehensive plan is gonna be pretty important. And so it almost seems like you could do this together.
Comprehensive plan's over 10 years old, isn't it?
Well, they did an update, like the planning commission did an update recently, and but I think that doing a big, kind of a major overhaul and update it's worth past time to do that.
At least once a decade.
I think that you need to have
It's changed.
somebody help lead that process. So that's just a suggestion.
Got one last thing, we had the opportunity for Tom and Tina and I to spend pretty much a pretty nice day, very weather-wise, went clear up to the Nebraska line for CAT's rebuild program with information. I should have grabbed one of these for all of us, but anybody wants to look at this, information they gave us that day, and
I could also scan it in and send it out in a packet if you want.
They might have it in PDF form. They might have it in PDF form. There might be a,
for the history lesson was Tina's grandparents and great grandparents are from that area, where the school is still standing where they went to school there along the highway. There were just a lot of intriguing things to talk about on our windshield time that day. The best was a hot fudge sundae at Wendy's, or was Freddy's at McPherson on the way home. That hit the spot.
so did you just go see the finished product? Is that what it was?
That one that they rebuilt, the third one that Republic County has done that they featured there in the building.
That was their 500th rebuild on the program. And so they had quite a bit of information. They did several presentations. There is somebody within their company that can help inspect the current fleet of the heavy equipment, kind of evaluate which ones it might make sense to rebuild instead of buying new or used. And then they can help develop budget projections and all that. So my plan is to meet with, probably in a couple weeks, try to meet with them, Tom Holub, Steve, and Doug over at Road and Bridge as he gets settled in and figure out what that might look like for Marion County. So
I think it was pretty informative.
yeah, they had a lot of good information, so.
Something. No negative? You ask around Republic County?
Well, what was the Republic guy's name that gave his 2 cents worth, and it was his birthday? His title.
I don't know, Mike, I'm sorry.
He talked a lot about miles they had, the money they had to use, and this was an option they took to keep their equipment up, so.
At a lot lower price, because they wouldn't have been able to afford to.
Putting over 10,000 hours on one and then expecting with a rebuild, that would be 5/8 of a new one, I think, would probably be a pretty good percentage.
Just over half. Huh?
Yeah.
And get another 10 years of service out of them. They strip them down, all new wiring harnesses, reman everything. And you can opt out to a general rebuild to a very extensive rebuild for us.
Yeah, they have
I think
different.
that machine, a lot of the machines are based on big loaders and scrapers and stuff too that are done where that iron's this wide and this thick. You're not gonna fatigue it in the first year of the powertrain and rebuild it. So there's a lot of options to their rebuild program. I think their shop is in Wichita, and I think before at some point, just to go, Tom and I talked about getting invited down to see it, and would like to witness actually the hands-on where they're working on them. So pretty entertaining. So.
Foley, is that? Yeah. All right, good to know. Anything else?
Do you want to schedule any kind of work session or time to talk about this information right now, or do you want to think about it and then let us know what you want to do?
We need to, if we're serious about redoing the comprehensive plan, which I think we need to be, we need to start those discussions and get a game plan, you know, maybe after the 4th of July. Second week in July, July 7th, put that on the agenda and develop a game plan for redoing the comprehensive plan.
No. Will not, what is it?
Yeah, it's the 23rd.
I won't be.
Mike's gonna be gone too that day.
We can do it the following week.
No, I'm just
No,
saying I
he's
won't be
talking
here
about
next weekend,
this
or
coming
next
week. You're talking about July 14th, right, Clark? Or 7th, which one?
Well, I was thinking the 7th, but the 14th, either one. Doesn't
Okay.
matter to me. I mean, that's soon enough. I mean, this is in my opinion, to do the comprehensive plan, we're looking at least 2 years.
As long as it's on the calendar, get started.
Yeah, it is a long process.
It's a long process to do it right, and,
Right.
and if we're gonna do it, we need to do it right, so,
Right.
So you guys are gonna be short, you have three commissioners, if you all show up.
This coming Monday, the 23rd.
I'll be in Deadwood, South Dakota,
This coming Monday?
23rd.
June 23rd, next Monday.
Oh.
Mike's
You wanna
gonna be
move?
gone.
Unless you wanna move it to Tuesday or something.
I'm here.
I wouldn't be back till
Change your,
Wednesday, I don't know. I can always jump on, I suppose.
I am gonna be tentatively scheduling an executive session for attorney-client matters on that day with one of our outside attorneys. So
I'll get on one.
that would be the only, I could always try to switch it to the next week.
It's too hard to lead the meeting online, so I'd rather have somebody in the room.
I could probably put that on a different day.
That's my $4 charge.
There's not a whole lot else on that day, I don't think. I took this down.
Somebody else gonna be gone?
Mike's gonna be gone.
unless you wanna go be my pallbearer. See my sisters that I ain't seen 4 or 5 years old.
You better go do that.
It's pretty important.
I'm going to Deadwood to go see family that's all dying off. That just keeps,
They're all done off the Deadwood.
they're all dying off in Deadwood.
Sounds
Sounds like an old western.
So right now, the only
You know
thing on the 23rd, I think what I probably will do is just move that tentative meeting that I just scheduled, move that off that day, and
I would think it'd be hard to.
Then we
be
can just,
online and
keep
listen
it to-
somebody online.
real, maybe have that just be a real light meeting on the 23rd.
Okay.
That might mean that we have a few more things on payday in the morning, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Alright,
Work for me to move it to payday if that
Okay.
works for everybody.
okay.
Keep it light next week. Pick it all up on payday.
Which is a Monday anyway.
It is a Monday, but we meet at 9 in the morning on that day.
Sounds good. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was confused, it's opening card.